Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting Team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade. Hello. Welcome to Monday Morning Matters.
Yes, hello. Good morning, everyone from the city of Abuja. Thank you for hooking up with us on Monday Morning Matter. My name is Niyi Dunmade, founder, CEO, Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps local churches to grow healthier through empirical assessment, trainings, and strategic blueprints. Merry Christmas to every one of you. Thank you for hooking up with us. It's been technical. We had technical issues over here for the past 30 minutes, but I'm happy that we are finishing strong, bringing you a final lapse of when church growth becomes a problem. We look at the scenario of where you have a very high conversion ratio. So we look at a situation whereby God brings about a revival. And so we thank you for all those who have been watching us in the past months. Throughout the year, we have covered a lot of topics. And I can tell you that 2023 is going to be hot. 2023 is going to be hot. We're going to look at making the church fit for the future. We're going to look at the consultant guide for building a church organization, the pros and cons of church process automation. Quite a lot of topics have been earmarked for 2023. Okay, are all church members not equal? You know, we're going to look at quite some practical issues. So watch out for this space in the year 2023. Thank you for hooking up with us. Thank you for sharing our content. Thank you for making comments on our social media platform. We are glad that you're part of this live broadcast show. And again, my name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the principal consultant, founder, and CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. And of course, our vision is to be the leading church health consultancy that creates actionable, sustainable, and adaptable solution. I'm also a church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting and Church Answers University. And of course, I want to do a quick promo for you on this live channel. If you want to become a certified church consultant, I'm going to make it easy for you with discount and help personally to become a certified church consultant to help your church. If you want to help your church become healthier, you want to help other churches to revitalize, become healthier, let us know. I'm the church health guide of the 21st century. I can help you out to become a certified, well-trained church consultant. Okay? And of course, get my book on church retention, pathway to growth. Church retention, pathway to growth. There are limited copies. Let us see how you're going to get your copy quickly. A big thank you to those who are commenting. I appreciate your super thanks on YouTube. Thank you for the followership, the watching of our videos. This year has been so awesome. It's been a challenge coming every Monday with good content for you. So I hope you have appreciated it. Go on our YouTube channel, go on our Facebook page. You're going to see quite a lot of content that's going to help you and help your church. And if you go on our page and you don't see anything that is helpful to you, just reach out to me and I'm going to ask you what you need to move your church forward. And of course, I promise you, I'm going to give it to you free of charge. Okay? One of the things I posted on my Facebook page account was knowing the purpose of the church makes a lot of difference to any church growth effort. Okay, the purpose of the church is to make and mature disciples. The purpose of the church is around souls. That's the plan of God, the heartbeat of God, why the church was instituted in the first place. The church was instituted to affect lives, to win souls for Christ, to make and mature disciples. And so we know that for us to be able to get it right in terms of purpose, then the forces of zeal and knowledge must combine together. I've seen churches who are so zealous in terms of passion for souls, but they don't have the knowledge. And I know some churches who have the knowledge, but there's no zeal. And so one of the things we, as a church consultant, we help with churches is to let us know that there can be a balance between zeal and knowledge, because church growth can be messy. And for you to maintain church health also can be messy. For you to maintain church health, you need that balance. And as church leaders, you have to prepare for this kind of messy situation when church growth becomes a problem. This is the last edition and the last live broadcast show for 2022. And I know that your church cannot grow without evangelism and some form of invitational culture. And so those two are two instruments, two tools that the church will use to get converts and to get what? Guests. And so your church can only grow to the extent at which you are able to handle your converts well and to handle your process. What I'm saying is the assimilation process you have for a convert and a guest must be that it is efficient and it's also effective. Okay, so one of the things that we also say is that whatever the church is doing is to make sure that they are making sure that they are bringing out the disciplines in their members. They are bringing out the disciplines in their members. I mentioned 3 disciplines last week Monday. I'm going to just gloss over them and I will go on to numbers and see what happens when church growth becomes a problem. 3 disciplines. We have the inward discipline, and then we have the outward discipline. We also have the corporate discipline. We have what we call the inward discipline. We also have the outward discipline, and we also have the what? Corporate discipline. The inward disciplines are the traits and features of a disciple that are inside of the believer. Then the outward disciplines are the traits and the features that you can see as they live their lives, as they express out their faith. Those are the outward discipline. And then the corporate disciplines is when you look at the summation of all the core values and the expressions of the disciples in your church. What are the disciplines? That's a corporate discipline. And the thing is that some people might not have inward discipline or outward disciplines, but they are hiding in the anointing of the corporate discipline that your church is. For example, if your church has a good a corporate discipline of sharing and evangelizing, there might be some people in your church who are not sharing and evangelizing. And so that's why there is need for balance between the inward discipline, outward discipline, and the corporate discipline. Most of the time, some pastors usually want to put some more emphasis on the corporate discipline, but you see, everything starts from the inward discipline. And then you move to the outward discipline, make sure that those things are right, and then you can get the corporate discipline right. One of the things I will say quickly, and then go back to my notes, is that your church can have fantastic core values on paper, but might not be in alignment with the disciplines of your membership or your congregation. And so that gap is something that, as church leaders, you need to begin to bridge that gap quickly. You need to begin to bridge that gap quickly. And if you want to bridge that gap, you have to make sure that you are getting things right in terms of the disciplines you want to see in your church. Okay? And so one of the things is that you have to begin to concentrate on the inward discipline, because for you to get the inward discipline correctly, you have to make sure that things are done correctly from the internal. What is there internally, you can get it right externally. If it's not there on the inside, all that the discipline I'm talking about. We're talking about honor, worship, and fellowship. We're talking about growing or hunger for God. We're talking about service. We're talking about giving, accountability, generosity. And then we're talking about prayer, seeking unity, evangelism, sharing love, reading the Bible, studying, meditating of the Bible, journaling, intake, fasting, abstinence from things that will corrupt them, silence, solitude, rest, Sabbath, okay, discipling or mentoring or coaching or modeling, and then guidance, hearing from God, celebration, submission, simplicity. There are quite a lot of disciplines, but we're saying that whatever the church is doing, you have to make sure that these disciplines are actually existing in your church. I'm going to go straight to my desktop and I'm going to show you what a summary of all the things that I've been describing all along for you. Now, don't be afraid of numbers. Numbers should be your friend. Numbers are not something you should be afraid of. We have been talking about church growth, and of course, the variables that are very important with church growth has to do with your backdoor rate. Okay, most pastors usually want to focus on the front door rate, but I can tell you that the back door is much more important. If you're putting 100% on your front door, you need to put 3 times of that on your back door. So your attrition rate or your back door rate is very important. Make sure that your back door rate is below 5%. Then we also have the invites per attendance rate. So as people are attending your church, what is the invite rate as compared to the attendance rate? We also need to look at the retention rate. Get my book. I made it clear in my book that what you need to get right is retention rate, because the higher the number of your visitors volume or the higher number of your retention rate, the lesser volumes you need to be able to get to potential, and the less amount of money you need to process them, because when you want to process guests and convert, it actually takes some resources, whether monetary or not monetary. Okay, but the higher the retention rate, the less the volume, the less the money you are using to process them, and the lower the money that is lost on sunk cost, you're going to have good publicity in the community. And that's what, get my book. I don't want to go into that, the importance of having church retention right. And then you also have the percentage of inviters. So you have 100 of membership, or you have 100 people in your congregation. How many of them are actually inviting their people? Because the thing is that word of mouth, invitational culture always has a direct correlation to how your church is going to grow. So what is the percentage inviters to your church? I want to begin to say between 20 to 30% of your congregation, that's the minimum, are actually inviting their friends. And so all these variables have a way of affecting your church growth momentum. And you can see here that if I want to grow to 2,000, and the church is already 1,000. I need to be able, the desired growth is having what, 1,000 in the church, and with all these variables I'll be able to get that done in it. But the thing is, where does church growth becomes messy and becomes a problem? Now you can see this lower this thing where I have 1-to-1 ratio. 1-to-1 ratio means that if every one of your congregation are bringing one person to Christ, or they are establishing someone in your church, or they are discipling someone to maturity in your church, we are saying that if the church is 100, they are adding 100 in the first year. The second year, they are starting with 200. So by the second year, they are already hitting 400. In the third year, they are hitting 800. Okay, if you have 1-to-1 conversion ratio. And we are saying here that if it takes 3 years to maturity, we are going to have, let's say, 12.5% who are mature disciples in your church. That's about 100 from 800. About 700 people who are immature, or I call them babies in the Lord. And then you have 87.5% who are in this category. But you see, when you go to the fourth year, or when you start 800 and you double 1-to-1 conversion rate, you are going to get hit to 1,600. What this means is that if it takes 4 years to mature a disciple, you're going to have 1,500 of them who are immature, and that is about 87.5%, and that's 12.5% who are matured in your church. Okay? And so this is a scenario that once you have more converts, a kind of 1-to-1 ratio in your church, and you have to prepare for this scenario. You have to prepare for this scenario, because if you don't prepare for this scenario, there's no how God will cause a revival. There's no how God will bring the 3,000 souls like the way He did in the early church in one moment. If God brings 3,000 souls to your church, what are you going to do? If God brings 10,000 souls to your church, do you have the capacity? Do you have the systems? Do you have the structure? And if you put these things in place, I can tell you that God has a way of bringing them your way, because He knows you're going to do something about them. You're going to solve that problem. You're going to solve that problem when church go become a problem. And if that scenario comes to your doorsteps in your church, you're going to handle that well, to God's glory. And the more you handle that to disciple people, to establish them in the faith, I'm telling you, the more people are going to come to your church. You see, one of the things I read in a group I become is a concerned deterioration of Bible stories. People don't read the Bible anymore. People don't understand spiritual things, and because spiritual things are very slippery, pastors and leaders of churches need to find all it takes. Use digital, use one-on-one, use all kinds of, to be able to establish the principles and truths in our disciples. Okay, I'm going to go straight to a more case. So I'll be able to explain to you the 1-to-1 conversion ratio where we just talked about. Now let's look at 1-to-2 conversion ratio. 1-to-2 conversion. What it means is that if one person is establishing 2 persons on a consistent basis. Now this is just a scenario. It's not something that is happening, but I just want to let you know how this problem can be a problem, and how you can begin to start thinking of how you can solve that problem. And once you are able to have the capacity to solve that problem, I can tell you, you're going to get people to come through your front door in no time. So 1-to-2 ratio, what it means that for every of your congregation, they are bringing 2 people per year. And so if you have 100 membership in your church, in the first year they are becoming what? 200. Okay, they are adding 200. Okay, and if they are adding 200, that means that in the first year they are becoming 300. So you start with 100, become 300. That is 1-to-2 conversion ratio. So the second year, starting with 300, they are adding 600. So in the second year they become 900. That's 1-to-2 conversion ratio. Now in the third year they're starting with 900, and so they are able to add 1,800. And by the third year they're becoming 2,700. Now you can see 1-to-2 ratio, how compounding the effect can be on a consistent basis. And so what I'm telling you is that you can see that the number of mature disciples, because you are having a massive growth momentum, you can see the number of converts and the number of disciples you are having has dropped in the first 3 years. That's about 3.7% who are matured disciples. That's on the assumption that it takes 3 years to mature a disciple. Okay, sometimes it can take 7 years, it can take 2 years, it can take 10 years, as depending on how the disciple is willing to go through the curriculum and the spiritual disciplines to become matured. So you can see that because we have a higher conversion ratio than the 1-to-1 ratio, we have a very worst case scenario in terms of 3.7 to be matured and 96.3% who are immature in the Lord. Now, if you go to the fourth year by 2,700 members and they are using 1-to-2 conversion ratio, you can see that the church has grown to 8,000 membership in 4 years because of that conversion ratio. And see, what it means is that in 4 years, you're going to have 1.23% who are mature disciples and about 99% who are not matured disciples in your church. Now, that's 1-to-2 conversion ratio. And I can tell you, is getting worse when you have 1-to-3 ratio. It's getting worse when you have 1-to-3 ratio. Okay, now what I'm trying to say with 1-to-3 ratio is that for every congregation you have them bringing 3 converts or establishing 3 disciples or establishing 3 members in your church. And see, in the first year, they were able to hit 400. And in the second year, they were able to hit 1,400. In the third year, you go to hit 6,400. Okay? And then in the fourth year, they go to hit 25,600. Now, you can see that the percentage of disciples who are matured is way lower as compared to 3.7, and now it's 1.6. You can see after 3 years from 12.5 with 1.2 conversion ratio, we have 3.7, and then 1-to-3 conversion ratio is 1.6. Now, if you're going to look at it in 4 years, from 6.25% who are matured to 1.23, and then to 0.37% who are matured. Now, you can see that the more conversion ratio you have, the more messier it can be. I know I've said quite a lot, and I hope you are not confused with all these. The summary is that when you have a massive revival and church growth momentum in your church, it can become messier, and you have to find what it takes to enforce the disciplines, the inward disciplines, the outward disciplines, and the corporate disciplines in your church. Now, I've said a lot of things. I've said some deep things. I know a lot of people who pick my brains. Listen to some of these things over again, and then if you have any problems, reach out to me, and I'll be able to answer any of your problems, any of your questions rather, and then attend to any of your concerns. Okay, please feel free to make sure you get in touch with me. Don't be confused. Numbers is your friend. These are things that you can embrace and use it to move your church forward in no time. Okay, please feel free to go on any of our social media handles, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Please feel free to get across to any of these the platforms on YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You have any church related questions, please let us have it in any of the handles of our social media platform. If you have any question, any concern, you want to even talk to a consultant, please feel free to contact me. I love to talk to pastors. I don't know, I love them because they are really, really a special breed of people, and they are endangered species. And we need more of pastors so that we can have more of healthy churches in our world today. There are many churches in the world, but if we can have more healthier churches, then we can have great impact in our community. Please, if this video has been helpful to you, give us a like, share us to your community, share me to your pastor, drop us a comment you've learned from me. I would love to learn from you. Please let me drop us a comment in the comment section how you feel about our content. It's been wonderful this year. Please, keep coming your way every Monday. It's been wonderful. I thank you for those pastors who are encouraging me. I mean, some people just private chat me and to just tell me, keep on, we'll see your work you're doing. Thank you. Thank you for all the people who are watching every time. Thank you for those who are also giving comments, fantastic comments. By the way, my number is on the screen. We do consultations, we do trainings, we do strategic planning. We help churches to revitalize. Reach out to us on the number on the screen and we can help your church move from where it is to where it should be in God. Thank you for all those who are also liking our posts and sharing our content. Till I come your way next week. I know that'll be next year, because next week will be next year Monday. Okay, till I come with next year, 2023, with a court season. We're starting strong with the purpose of the church, and then we're going to move on from there every Monday with Monday Morning Matters. For now, I want to sign up. Thank you for all you have been doing for us. We thank God for sustaining our lives, and we hope that all of us who are watching me today, we're going to also connect again in 2023. But for now, I say bye-bye. I love you, and God bless you.